My dad died last week. Today I saw 2 obituaries for him. The ink on the newspaper page was still fresh enough to smudge against my thumb, leaving a dark, ghostly fingerprint right over my father's face. I sat at the kitchen table, the silence of the house pressing against my eardrums like deep water. It was Wednesday, January 28th. The funeral was scheduled for tomorrow. My mother was in the living room, staring at a wall she had been staring at for 5 days, surrounded by wilting casseroles and sympathy cards that all said the same hollow things about peace and better places. I smoothed the paper out. I had gone down to the corner store to buy 10 copies of the Gazette. It was a ritual. You buy the papers, you clip the obituary, you laminate one for the Bible and send the rest to relatives in Wisconsin who don't have the internet. I found his face on page B4. Robert James Miller. 1968 to 2026. It was a good photo. We had chosen it together 3 nights ago. He was wearing his favorite fishing hat, holding a bass he caught at the lake house. The text below it was standard. Robert passed away suddenly from a cardiac event. He is survived by his devoted wife of 30 years, Mary, his son, Daniel, that's me, and a legacy of kindness. I nodded, feeling the lump in my throat tighten. It was respectful. It was true. Then, my eyes drifted. Right next to it, literally sharing the black border line, was another photo. I blinked. I rubbed my eyes, thinking the lack of sleep was causing hallucinations. It was the same man. But in this photo, he wasn't wearing a fishing hat. He was wearing a tuxedo. He was raising a glass of champagne. He looked younger, tan, vibrant. I read the text under the second photo. Rob R.J. Miller. 1968 to 2026. R.J. left this world too soon, leaving a hole in the hearts of those who adored him. He was the soulmate and partner to Linda for 15 magical years, and the proud, doting father to his vibrant twins, Josh and Sarah, age 14. R.J. was a man of adventure, a regional sales director who worked tirelessly to provide. The room spun. I mean that literally. The kitchen tilted on its axis. I gripped the edge of the table, my fingernails digging into the cheap pine. Soulmate to Linda. Father to twins. 15 years. I looked at the dates. They matched. I looked at the employment history. Regional Sales Director. It matched. I looked at the town listed in the second obituary. Oak Creek. Oak Creek was 45 minutes away. It was the town my father commuted to 3 days a week for his job. He stayed there in a corporate apartment because the drive was too long to make twice a day. Or so he told us. For 15 years. I felt a heat rising in my neck that had nothing to do with grief. It was a prickly, violent heat. My vision went blurry with a rage so pure it felt like I had swallowed a lit match. Danny? Mom called from the living room. Her voice was thin, fragile. Did you get the papers? I looked at the 2 obituaries sitting side by side like landmines. I couldn't show her. Not yet. If I showed her this, it wouldn't just break her heart, it would stop it. Yeah, Mom, I choked out, folding the paper aggressively so only the Mary side showed. I got them. They look good. I stood up. I grabbed my car keys. Where are you going? She asked as I walked past the archway. The funeral home, I lied. Mr. Henderson needed to check on the flower arrangements. I'll be back in an hour. Okay, honey. Drive safe. I walked out into the cold January air. I didn't drive to the funeral home immediately. I sat in my car and screamed. I screamed until my throat tasted like copper. My father wasn't a hero. He wasn't a legacy of kindness. He was a bigamist. He was a liar. And tomorrow, he was going to be put in the ground while 2 different families mourned a man who didn't exist. I pulled out my phone and searched for Josh and Sarah Miller Oak Creek. A public Instagram profile popped up. Sarah_M_14. The first photo was from Christmas. It showed a teenage girl and boy standing next to a tree. And standing behind them, with his arms draped over their shoulders, wearing a Santa hat and a grin I had seen 1,000 times, was my dad. Caption: Best Christmas ever with Dad before he heads back to the main office. #family #blessed. The main office, I whispered. That's what he called us. We weren't his family. We were the main office. I threw the phone onto the passenger seat. I started the engine. I had to go to the funeral home. Not to check flowers, but to warn Mr. Henderson. Because if Linda read the paper today, she was going to see Mary's name. And if she saw Mary's name, and the address of the funeral home, she was coming. I drove like a maniac. I blew through 2 yellow lights. When I pulled into the lot of Henderson and Sons funeral home, there was already a car I didn't recognize parked next to my dad's hearse. A silver Lexus SUV. It had an Oak Creek dealership sticker on the bumper. My stomach dropped through the floorboards. I wasn't fast enough. I ran up the steps. I burst through the heavy double doors into the lobby, which smelled of lilies and floor wax. The room was quiet. Too quiet. Mr. Henderson was standing by the register book, looking like he was about to pass out. He was wringing his hands, his face a mask of professional panic. And standing in the center of the room, staring at the open casket where my father lay in his best blue suit, was a woman. She was blonde. She was fit. She was wearing a black dress that cost more than my mother's car. And holding her hands, one on each side, were 2 teenagers who looked exactly, and I mean exactly, like me when I was 14. The woman turned around as the door closed behind me. Her eyes were red-rimmed, swollen from crying. But when she saw me, her expression shifted. It went from grief to confusion, and then, slowly, to a dawning, horrified recognition. She looked at my face. She looked at the chin I inherited from him. She looked at the eyes. "Who are you?" she whispered. Her voice was trembling. I walked forward. I felt like I was walking underwater. "I'm Daniel," I said. "I'm his son." She flinched like I had slapped her. She pulled the twins closer to her hips. "No," she said, shaking her head. "No. Rob said his son died. He said his first wife died in a car crash 20 years ago and the baby didn't make it." I stopped. The air left my lungs. "He told you I was dead?" I asked. My voice cracked. "He said it was too painful to talk about," she sobbed. "He said that's why he had to travel so much. To work. To keep his mind busy. He said I saved him." "He didn't save anyone," I said, stepping closer to the casket. I looked at the man lying there. He looked peaceful. He looked like he was sleeping through the storm he had created. "My mother is alive, Linda. She's at home. She's been married to him for 30 years. I'm 26. I'm very much alive." Linda let out a sound that wasn't human. It was a keen of absolute despair. The twins started to cry. The boy, Josh, looked at me with a mixture of fear and aggression. "You're lying!" Josh shouted. "My dad wouldn't lie." "Look at me, Josh," I said softly. "Look at my face. Don't I look like you?" He looked. He saw it. We had the same nose. The same hairline. "He lied to all of us," I said. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. Perhaps we should take this to the private office. Mrs. Miller, the other Mrs. Miller, will be arriving for the private viewing in, oh dear, 45 minutes. 45 minutes, Linda repeated. She wiped her face. The shock was fading, replaced by a cold, sharp steeliness. I need to see the death certificate. I need to see the will. There is no will, I said. He told us he didn't need one because everything goes to the spouse. To my mom. He told me he had a trust, Linda hissed. For the twins. He said his lawyer handled it. What lawyer? He never gave me a name. He said it was private. We stared at each other. Two victims of the same con artist, standing over his corpse. We need to search him, Linda said. Her voice was flat, devoid of the emotion she had walked in with. Excuse me. Mr. Henderson squeaked. You want to search the decedent? I want to know who he was, Linda said, walking up to the casket. Because clearly, neither of us knew Rob Miller. She didn't wait for permission. She reached into the casket. She patted down the inside pocket of his suit jacket. He always carried a notebook, she murmured. A little black moleskin. He said it was for sales leads. He never let me touch it. I remembered that notebook. He kept it in his breast pocket. He told me it was his ideas book. Linda's hand froze. She pulled it out. It was there. A small, worn black notebook. Mr. Henderson looked like he was going to faint, but he didn't stop her. Linda opened it. Her eyes scanned the first page. Then the second. Her face went pale. What is it? I asked. She handed it to me. It wasn't sales leads. It wasn't ideas. It was a ledger. January 4th, transfer to Nevis, $15,000. January 10th, cash withdrawal, Mary ACC, $4,000. January 12th, wire to Belize, $50,000. I flipped through the pages. There were years of entries. He was siphoning money. He was taking money from my mom's joint account, money she thought went to the mortgage, and moving it. He was likely taking money from Linda too. But the last page. The last page was dated the day he died. Flight confirmed. January 30th. One way. Panama City. January 30th was tomorrow. He wasn't going to a funeral tomorrow. He was planning to disappear. The heart attack was the only thing that stopped him from vanishing with everything. He was leaving, I whispered. He was leaving both of us. Linda looked at the twins, who were huddled together on a sofa in the corner, looking terrified. He told me we were broke, she said, her voice shaking. He said the market crashed. He said we had to refinance the house in Oak Creek. I signed the papers last week. He took the equity cash. It was $200,000. He told my mom the pension fund collapsed, I said. He liquidated her retirement. Said he was moving it to a safer gold IRA. We looked at the notebook. Wire to Belize. He stole it, Linda said. He stole everything. Not if we get it back, I said. How? Linda asked. He's dead. The accounts are probably numbered. We don't have the passwords. We don't need passwords, I said, a plan forming in my mind. We have his phone. Where? The police gave us his personal effects, I said. Mom has them in a bag at the house. His wallet, his keys, his phone. But we don't have the passcode. Linda reached into her purse. She pulled out an older model iPhone. Is it an iPhone? She asked. Yes. An iPhone 14. He used the same passcode for everything, Linda said. Since I met him. It's the date of the twins' birth. 0412. 0412, I repeated. That's my birthday too. Of course it was. He picked a day where he could remember the code for both lives. April 12th. He must have scheduled the C-section or induced labor to match. The level of sociopathy required was breathtaking. "We have 30 minutes before my mother gets here," I said. "I'm going to get the phone. You stay here. Do not let anyone leave. Do not let Mr. Henderson close the casket." I ran. I drove back to my house at speeds that were legally reckless. I ran inside. Mom was still staring at the wall. "Danny?" she asked. "You're back early." "Forgot something," I panted. I grabbed the clear plastic bag from the police off the hallway table. "Just need to check something for the obituary." I ran back out. I made it back to the funeral home in 15 minutes. I walked into the viewing room. Linda was sitting on a chair, staring at Dad's face. The twins were playing on their phones, likely trying to disassociate from the trauma. I pulled out Dad's phone. It was smashed on one corner from when he fell, but it still lit up. "Enter passcode." I typed 0412. The lock icon clicked open. I breathed out. Linda rushed over. We didn't look at the photos. We didn't look at the texts. We went straight to the apps. Bank of America. Wells Fargo. Cayman National. He had banking apps for all of them. And because he was arrogant, and because he thought he was untouchable, he had Face ID enabled, but he also had the password saved in the keychain. I opened the Cayman National app. Face ID required. I looked at the casket. I looked at Linda. "We have to," she said. I walked over to the body. I felt sick. I felt like I was desecrating a corpse, but then I remembered my mom's empty retirement account. I held the phone up to his face. His eyes were closed. It wouldn't work. "Open his eyes," Linda said. "I can't," I gagged. "I will," she said. She reached down. With a steady hand, she used her thumb to lift his right eyelid. I positioned the phone. The little padlock on the screen swirled. "Face not recognized." "Try again," she ordered. I adjusted the angle. The lighting was bad. "Face not recognized." "It requires attention," I said. "He has to be looking at it." "He's dead, Linda. The pupils, they aren't dilating." "The passcode," Linda snapped. "Check the Notes app." He wrote everything down. I opened Notes. It was locked. "Enter password." I tried 0412. Incorrect. I tried my mom's birthday. Incorrect. I tried Linda's birthday. Incorrect. "Think," I said. "What else? What mattered to him?" "Nothing," Linda said bitterly. "Only himself. Himself." I tried his birthday. Incorrect. Then I remembered something. The boat. He always talked about buying a boat when he retired. He had a name for it. He used to whisper it like a prayer. Freedom. I typed freedom. Unlocked. The note was titled Exit Strategy. It was all there. Account numbers. Routing numbers. Passwords. The total balance across 4 offshore accounts was $4.2 million. He had been skimming for 15 years. He hadn't just been supporting 2 families, he had been stealing from both to build a golden parachute for himself. $4 million, Linda whispered. That's ours. It's my mom's pension," I said. "And your house. We can transfer it," Linda said, her eyes wide. "Right now. Before the banks know he's dead. If we wait for probate, the IRS will take half, and the lawyers will take the rest. If we transfer it now." "That's wire fraud," I said. "It's survival." Linda grabbed my arm. "He stole this from us, Danny. Look at my kids. He left us with nothing. He put us in debt." I looked at the twins. They were watching us. I looked at the time. Mom would be here in 10 minutes. If Mom walked in and saw Linda, the shock might kill her. But if she walked in and saw Linda and found out she was destitute? Okay, I said. We split it. 50-50. Right down the middle. Agreed, Linda said. I opened the app. I initiated a transfer. $2 million to Linda's account number, which she recited from memory. $2 million to my own savings account. I couldn't use Mom's, she'd notice immediately. Transfer pending. Transfer complete. We stared at the screen. We had just robbed a dead man. Or rather, we had just recovered stolen property. Go, I said to Linda. Take the twins. Leave. My mother cannot see you. But the funeral. You can't come, I said firmly. You can't do that to her. Not today. Maybe in a few months, I'll tell her. But right now, let her mourn the husband she thought she had. Linda nodded. She looked at Dad one last time. She didn't kiss him. She didn't cry. She just leaned down and whispered, I hope it's hot down there, Rob. She gathered the twins. Let's go, kids. They walked out the back door just as I heard my mother's car pull up in the front. I shoved the notebook into my pocket. I wiped the phone on my jacket and put it back in the bag. Mom walked in. She looked small. She looked broken. Oh, Danny, she wept, hugging me. He looks so peaceful. Yeah, Mom, I said, hugging her back, feeling the weight of the secret notebook against my ribs. He does. The funeral was beautiful. People spoke about his integrity. They spoke about his dedication to his work. I stood there, nodding, holding my mother's hand. Later that night, I checked my bank account. The balance was $2,450,000. I haven't told Mom yet. I told her I found a life insurance policy she didn't know about. I'm using the money to pay off the house and restore her pension. Linda texted me yesterday. She paid off the mortgage in Oak Creek. She put the rest in a trust for the twins. We don't talk much. We have a pact of silence. We are bound together by a crime and a secret family tree. Sometimes I look at the obituaries. I tore the page out before Mom could see it. I burned it in the fireplace. My dad wanted 2 lives. In the end, he got 2 deaths. One was mourned with tears, and the other was mourned with a wire transfer. So, tell me. Am I the monster for teaming up with my dad's mistress to loot his offshore accounts before the estate settled, or did we just collect the child support he owed us all along?
If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.